Hey there people, how you doing? Now I'll be honest, I've been waiting for this one. The camera comparison between the flagship Galaxy S20 Plus coming in at a whopping $1,200 versus the underdog, alleged flagship killer, the Xiaomi Mi 10. So let's find out which camera gives the better images. First image, this is really good on both, but the depth of field on the Xiaomi, man, that is pure insanity. But other than that, I actually like how the greens are more vibrant and there's better detail on the leaves on the S20, which is why I actually prefer the S20's image here, even though that bokeh is killing right now. Alright, for the next one, here, oh boy. The only thing that I can find is that the S20 is maybe a tad brighter, but otherwise, man, it's identical there. I think it's basically a tie for this photo. Same story for the next one, although I think that the yellows look quite a bit better on the Xiaomi, so definitely it's a win for the Mi 10. The next one, however, on the flip side looks better on the S20 with better colors, brightness, while on the other hand Xiaomi appears to be kind of underexposed. This one is brighter on the S20, but there's quite a bit of clipping in the highlights, especially in the building and the clouds. So although the shadows are maybe a little bit better on the Galaxy, I'm picking the Mi 10 cause not only is it more balanced, that bokeh is just astounding. Here however, the S20 controlled the lens flare like a boss, and I did take the photo quite a few times to ensure that it wasn't user error, but each time the S20 handled the lens flare perfectly. On top of that, the leaves have a much better vibrance than on the Mi 10, so definitely the S20 takes this one. But then, for this one, I definitely like how the highlights are better maintained and the shadow detail is better on the Mi 10. Man, these two are just trading some serious blows here, huh? Anyways, this one was shot with the Mi 10's macro camera, and although it can get quite a bit closer to the subject than the S20 could, the quality is just not that good. It's not bad, but I've really seen better. Okay, so this is something I wanted to showcase. The Mi 10 image is a full fat 108 megapixels and it focused like a god. And surprisingly, the 64 megapixel camera couldn't manage it. It seems Xiaomi managed to do what Samsung couldn't for some reason, and I had to get quite a bit far away from the subject so that the S20's high-res camera could focus properly. Remember, it's at 64 megapixels, and the Xiaomi with the 108 megapixel is actually better at focusing. Honestly, the S20 is kind of disappointing here. Anyways, the next one is an ultra-wide shot, and I prefer the S20 by a very slight margin, mainly because it's brighter, but most importantly, it's got a wider field of view. Then, the same thing with the main lens, and unfortunately the shadows are way too crushed on the Mi 10, while the S20 manages to balance it out really well. I think those updates finally caught up and fixed the processing on the S20. I mean, about freaking time, right? Now, for zoom, if you guys didn't know already, neither the S20 nor the Mi 10 have an actual optical zoom camera. They both use high-res sensors to crop in, and by far the S20, with its comparatively low resolution 64 megapixel camera, is able to resolve a higher degree of detail upon 3x zoom as compared to the measly 2x zoom on the Xiaomi Mi 10 with a 108 megapixel camera on the Mi 10. I was honestly surprised because I didn't really think it would lose to the S20 even though it's got nearly double the resolution. Then obviously we have the 10x zoom on the Galaxy, and it's not bad, but I consider this the limit for usable quality on the S20 Plus at least. Then there's the max out 30x zoom, and it's pretty bad, as expected. Now for some textures. And here I really don't know what happened with the S20, because the Mi 10 is the one with the most accurate colors, and for whatever reason, the S20 decided to make the red look like the craziest rave hue of magenta. Texture-wise, they look pretty similar. I took another shot for good measure, and here there's no such craziness with the colors, but the brightness is kinda low on the S20, which makes me prefer the Mi 10 for this one as well. Okay then, for some indoor shots, and here I definitely prefer the Mi 10, especially because it's got an amazing highlight control. As for this one, the S20 overexposed quite a bit, so I did take another photo, this time using touch to expose on the S20, and it gave a much more balanced result with some really well exposed shadows. This one, however, I prefer the Mi 10 because it's once again got better highlight control. Then, for a backlit shot with night mode this time, and man, the S20 is just miles better, especially with the shadows. I mean, you can look at it for yourself. The Mi 10 completely crushed him, while the S20 is giving us a perfect picture here. And then finally we have our good old Valentine, and it looks basically the same, with maybe ever so slightly more shadow detail on the S20, but I do like the colors on the S20 a little bit better. But for the next one, I enabled the AI camera on the Mi 10. It sounded kind of gimmicky, but it did a surprisingly good job of bringing the colors at par with the S20. And this one, I just had to show it because both the images are from the S20, but the one on the right is night mode with good lighting, but oh boy, it's kind of crazy. And I realize that it's got good detail on Valentine, but for whatever reason, the wall has been darkened to hell. I have no idea why. And yes, I realize the images of Val haven't been the same on both. That's cause he wasn't very still during the photo shoot. For whatever reason, he wanted to buy the cameras. Yeah. Anyways, we have another night mode here, and yes, I did switch off most of the lights, and the S20 is quite a bit better once again with a lot more detail, and the colors are also quite a bit better. Alright, now let's talk about portraits. And I gotta admit, I got some serious jaundice on the Mi 10 for some reason with that nasty skin smoothing and yellowing, but the S20 comparatively takes a much better picture here. Same story for the next one. I'm really yellow, but the Mi 10 also messed up the highlights and a little bit of the frame of the specs. Yeah, the portraits aren't exactly the strong suit of the Mi 10 here. Alright, another night mode, and the detail levels are pretty similar, excluding that green light. That was unintentional, but otherwise it's pretty similar. Then the next one is on a tripod, and the S20 is definitely quite a bit better, especially with those shadows that the Mi 10 just completely crushed. Then the S20 also has ultra wide night mode, and you can see for yourself how much of a difference it makes. Unfortunately, the Mi 10 has nothing of the sort. Well then, I believe that the S20 is definitely better overall. It's got much more balanced daylight images, really good night mode, and the portraits are also comparatively better. They're not the best, but they are quite a bit better than the Mi 10, especially in terms of color reproduction. After all, the S20 is a flagship costing quite a bit more. I'll say the results aren't exactly surprising, but there were times when the Mi 10 performed exceptionally well. It just wasn't consistent enough. So that's it for today. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be seeing you guys later. Cheers!